Hey there folks, and welcome to this video. This one here is a general notice. Those of you unaware of what this content is, this channel is where I sit down at the start of every week, talk about my plans for the week ahead, look further back at, say, the previous week's worth of content, and talk about a topic that's on my mind. You can find a link to this week's one in the description section down below. But first, let's have a look back at the past week with F1 wrapping up, and a video that came out which... Well, let's talk about it. I made a video about Nikita Mazepin and the allegations against him. This was after he uploaded, supposedly, a video to his Instagram, which appeared to show him groping a young woman. And the kind of reaction to it has been, well, it's been mixed, but not in the way I thought it would be. If we want to boil it down to kind of numbers, well, I don't think many people were talking about Mazepin on YouTube, because I ended up seeing something like a couple of thousand views in the first hour, which is the first time that's happened, and it got something like 11,000 views, best part of, in its first day. I think it was probably close to about 10,000, but either way, that was the amount of views I ended up getting overall for the day, and that's the best kind of performance my channel's had. And not only that, I started the day on 555 subscribers, which is like a very funny thing to have, because being a rallying fan, Subaru's quite iconic for a 555. Then I ended the day at over 600, and thanks to everyone who's putting that kind of faith and support in me. I don't understand it, but it's wonderful to be able to sit down and make content that I'm happy with making and that I feel it's worth making, and people actually enjoying it. It's been brilliant. It's been a show for kind of how big this year has been for me, and also that there is a kind of niche that I can work towards, which is talking about politics within motorsport. Maybe within Formula 1 by and large, but within motorsport. In addition to that, I missed the final week of RSRBR because I'm very clever like that. That's a bit of a shame, but heyo. But I might do something in it for the last couple of weeks of the year. Christ. It's only 2 weeks and a bit left in the year. I need to start thinking about 2020 year reviews now, and actually I am, for WRC and F1. Well, for those two in particular, but other things as well. In terms of the rest of this week's content, there's not really much in the way of motorsport for me to review. So, what do I want to talk about for those kinds of videos? Well, driver stuff, because there's a rumour that Sergio Perez could be announced at Red Bull in the coming days. Or, of course, they could announce they're keeping Alex Albon. And there are all other little bits and pieces in motorsport news. I might talk about the WRC and talk about who might go into the Ford seats, because, of course, we know that Esteban Ocon isn't expecting to be retained. Might talk about the Hyundai B team. Might talk about regulation changes, and actually I was listening to the Dirtfish podcast where they were talking about whether or not something like Rally Monza should happen again, and so I might give some insights on that. But we'll see that over the rest of the week. Right now, let's get into me talking about a topic that I'd quite like to discuss. So yeah, this week, I'd like to discuss We Races 1. F1's kind of, we notice that there is inequality and injustice in the world message. It's twinned with end racism. And they were both designed to be this kind of palatable, marketable image that said that F1 was aware things were going on, but not necessarily they were doing anything. And, well, We Racist 1 was meant to be this kind of manifesto of discrimination, violence. We oppose it. And, well, what's happened with it since? Well, supposedly Chase Carey's committed 7-figure donation to this cause. And we haven't really seen much else apart from that. We've seen the logos on the cars, of course, the ones with the rainbow that are the 10 team colours, which I'll talk about again in a moment. But the other thing was, on the podium, it was hashtag We Racist 1. And I'm sorry, but F1 didn't. Before the season even began, Carlos Sainz was in trouble over a very edgy joke on a sponsor video, which could easily be construed as racist. In addition to that, you get to the first race in Austria where he decries, "I am a free man. And so I shall not kneel." Because apparently that's what free men do. I don't know. We've had Max Verstappen use ableist and arguably racist slurs against Lance Stroll. Again, no action really taken. Verstappen still hasn't apologised. Had Valtteri Bottas and Nikita Mazepin making edgy jokes about China that could be construed as racist as well. And oh boy, Nikita Mazepin. That's just a thing. All of the different things that he's been accused of over the course of this past year. Maybe you could go back a bit longer as well, but definitely this past year. And not really much being said about him. A lot of the big stuff that's happening is where people in the F1 community, and I'm sorry, I can't say that like the likes of Crofty or Brundle are representatives of F1, even though they're the English broadcaster. They're not representatives of F1, the organisation. Not even necessarily recognise kind of faces of F1 as the sport. It's just the broadcast. The fact that the biggest kind of stuff that happens when it comes to publicising this stuff comes from the people presenting F1. That's disappointing. The fact that F1 in that year could also announce a race in Saudi Arabia and also return to places like Turkey is massively in conflict, and honestly props to Sebastian Vettel for the helmet design that he brought in. That he raced in Turkey and Bahrain. That was brilliant. F1 really does have problems. It's still racing in places like Russia. Next year's calendar is also likely to include the likes of China as well. And yet, it wants to proclaim that it raced as one. Raced as one bank account, maybe. Raced as one? Not in a million years. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Of course, you're always welcome to disagree. But this is what I like about having the general note, is I can talk about this in a more personal way, let's say. I don't have like a script in front of me or anything like that. It's just what comes to my mind. And the fact that people enjoy listening to that is brilliant. Yeah. If F1 wanted to race this one, we wouldn't be having merch on its site with an iron cross on it as part of a collaboration between a driver and an alleged neo-Nazi. Well, more alleged ties to the far right, but people do accuse him of being a neo-Nazi. They would, you know, call out Nikita Mazepin instead of going, oh, we support Haas, who say they're dealing with it internally. Not that we're necessarily ever going to hear what the result of that is. You'd expect them to call out the likes of Verstappen, Sainz, Bottas. Probably expect Mercedes to as well, given things like the Accelerate 25 initiative, but maybe he hasn't done the training of that yet. Yeah, those are my thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you around.